Price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
I think they targeting to the Asian American community.
We need the black community to realize that that black people are hurting Asians, and they need to speak out in their own community.
It is not just a black and Asian issue. It is something in the psyche of this country where somehow it's okay to physically or verbally abuse Asian Americans.
We've been hearing this narrative that black people have been attacking Asians randomly for no reason other than the fact that they're Asians, and black people all of a sudden hate Asians. Even through this pandemic, you haven't heard anything about black people attacking Asians. It's just like a year after, this immense hate for Asian people randomly grew in black people, which gave young black men the urge to push old Asians down on the ground. That's the narrative that you're hearing, and this is racially motivated. But my question is, and I don't condone anybody pushing anybody else, don't push people, that's not nice. But my question is, are we sure that these are racially motivated crimes? Are we positive? Because when something happens to a black person, I'm just gonna be fair, because when something happens to a black person, they'll say, well, you can't necessarily prove that it has anything at all to do with race. You can't prove it has anything to do with race. It just happened to be he beat him up and he hung him with a noose, and he happened to be black. I mean, you don't know if that's about race. It could have been anybody. But when an Asian person gets pushed, harmed, insulted by anybody who isn't Asian, oh my God, that's an Asian hate crime. You hate Asian people. So where's the line between, okay, that's just a random attack and that is a hate crime? Where is that? Where do we do that? Because black people don't ever seem to come close to things being a hate crime for us. I mean, you have Tamir Rice, you have Ahmaud Arbery, you have Trayvon Martin. Those are not hate crimes. Akai Gurley, those are not hate crimes against black people. But if you push somebody, you push an Asian, and you happen to not be Asian, that is a hate crime. And it's black people doing it to Asians. It's black people, right? This seems like a very false narrative to divert the attention away from white supremacy's attack and war against black people to people randomly attacking Asians. Now Asians are getting all this attention. They're getting tangible benefits and protection. And black people are the bad guys in this situation. So the reason people think that this is motivated by race is because of the tension between the black community and the Asian community. But let me ask you one question. Why is there so much tension between black people and Asian people? Who's really to blame between the tension between black people and Asian people? Latasha Harling was murdered by a Korean convenience store owner. Latasha went in to go buy some juice, and as the Korean store owner racially profiled her, thinking that, all black people steal, they got into a little tussle over Latasha's backpack. Latasha, with the money in her hand as she was walking up to the counter, said, "Forget this," and she decided to walk off, where the Korean store owner, Soon Ja-do, I believe the name is pronounced, took a gun, pointed it at the back of her head, and shot her dead. Sun Ja-do had her day in court, where the judge let her off with probation, saying that she did not see a killer in her eyes. So, the racial tension. She shot a 15-year-old in the back of the head, shot her dead in the back of the head, and didn't spend a day in prison for it. Now, they are not going to say that that was a hate crime. They're not going to say that race had anything to do with poor Latasha being shot and killed in a store for trying to buy some juice. Black people did, there was the riots, and black people did burn their stores down justifiably, but you don't ever hear them talk about it. You damn sure don't hear Asians bring that up. You don't hear Asians apologizing for Jeonju and apologizing for the death of Latasha Harlins. But okay, let's let that happened in the past. Let's talk about something that's a little bit more recently. Akai Gurley was a 28-year-old black man living in Brooklyn, New York. He was murdered by Peter Liang. Peter Liang had entered a pitch black unit stairwell where Peter Liang carelessly fired his gun, which ricocheted off the wall, hitting Akai Gurley in the heart. Peter Liang saw Akai Gurley bleeding to death and walked off, leaving Akai Gurley to die. Peter Liang had his day in court, and the entire Asian community rallied for Peter Liang's freedom, saying what he did was not racially motivated, it was not a hate crime, nor should he face any punishment at all. Now, an important thing to remember is that this isn't just Chinese Americans. This isn't just Japanese Americans or Korean Americans. This is everybody all together. Everybody who classifies as Asian rallied for Peter Liang. They rallied in support of Peter Liang and the death of Akai Gurley. Let me show you some more instances of how the Asian community treats black people. If we go to their nail salon, which they place specifically in the black community, so they can take the resources from the black community and go into their own Asian community, which they do not share. They don't share any of the resources. They don't come to black businesses. They don't support black businesses at all. They go out of their way not to support other black people, but they'll put their businesses in our communities and expect us to support them. And if a black woman says that she didn't like the way the Asian lady did her nails, they will lock the door and start beating them up.
Between customers and workers, at issue an unsatisfactory $5 eyebrow wax and a dispute about whether the customers had paid for their pedicures.
I just finished the pedicure, is okay. I belong for free for her, no problem.
But Abby Moses says her daughter Christina and mother Thelma had paid for their pedicures. Salon workers can be seen trying to keep them inside while police are called. But soon enough, shoving, pushing, punching, and broomstick beating ensued.
You don't hear a peep from Asian celebrities. You don't hear a peep from an Asian spokesperson saying, we got to do better to black people. We need to stand up for black people. We need to stop doing this to black people. But they expect black people to say that on behalf of Asians. This is an Asian man confessing that he is racist to black people. Here's a clip of it.
I don't care. You don't know me. Why are you taking pictures of me? And I don't know you. Do you know a lot of white men are doing racist things in this world, sir?
No.
You don't know that? You're not aware of that?
I'm a racist.
You are a racist.
I'm a racist.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay? So
what's
the
your
issue?
point? Why are you here?
Because this is a no zone.
Not really.
This is very disturbing. This is how Asians see black people in Asia. And Donald Trump said it's the Kung Flu virus, the Asian virus, the Chinese virus. You saw black people saying, okay, that's not right. That's not something you should say about Asians. So black people were defending Asians when it first started breaking out. And what Asians did to black people was in Asia, they were kicking black people out of the stores. They were banning black people. Black people were not allowed to go in certain restaurants. They were kicking black people out of their homes. They were evicting black people. Black people were getting beaten up in the street, like how they're saying we're doing to them now is actual evidence of them actually beating black people in the street for a virus that came from their country. So as a black person, I refuse to apologize for anything. I'm not gonna apologize. I'm not gonna stand up or anything like that because first of all, there's no proof that black people are doing anything to Asians at a disproportionate number. There's no proof that black people are doing anything to Asians because they are Asians. I haven't seen any solid evidence that these are racially motivated hate crimes because when they do stuff to us, they don't say it's racially motivated. You can have us being compared to literal monkeys in their country, and then they can come over here and start beating us up, and they'll say, well, we don't know if it's about race. But when a black person pushes an Asian person, they say, oh my God, black people hate Asians now, all of a sudden. After years of supporting your businesses, after years of defending you, black people hate Asians all of a sudden. But you don't hear the same thing when anytime an Asian does something to a black person, you don't hear any Asian spokespersons, I'm sorry on behalf of Asians for what we've done to black people. You don't hear them say that. But we're supposed to say that. So no, I don't apologize.